What's up? Welcome back to the garage. Thank you for joining me on my journey to rebuild Scout, my 1978 CB750. In this episode, I'll be working on the triple tree with the goal of bringing it up to the same condition as the frame and the swing arm, and I'll also be installing a bearing upgrade. Before I get started on anything, I have to first remove the outer races from the old bearing. So you can see the lower bearing race right there. I'm going to start with the upper race first, but to remove it, all I'm going to do is use a steel drift and a hammer and knock it out. So I'm replacing this triple tree, and the reason why is because the steering stop here is broken. I need to take a measurement for the new bearings so that I know which spacer to use. And to do that, I need all this off, and I want to take it off without destroying it. I do have a brass drift. I'm just going to try to be as careful as possible. I've assembled the old lower bearing. Now, since we have the bearing off the stem, I can take my measurement. I don't really need to worry about these seals. It sits below the area that we're going to be measuring off of. So what we want to do is get an overall height measurement on the bearing, then take a measurement of the spacer, then we're going to compare it to our tapered bearing upgrade that we're going to be installing. And the whole reason why we're doing this is because I've got two options for washers, and I'm not sure if I need the thicker washer or the thinner washer. So we're going to take a measurement. That looks like it's 0.5 millimeter. Those two together are 18 millimeters. Looking at our new tapered bearing, so what we need to measure from is this flat part of the outer race to this flat part of the inner race, avoiding the cage. I'm reading just a little over 18 millimeters. Since the instructions say that we have to be within plus or minus 1 millimeter, I know right away that this is the washer that we want to use. Alright, so now that we have the bearing sorted out, we're going to get this ready for paint. So I'm going to hand finish the lower. The upper part of the triple tree, I'm going to vapor blast. Starting with the lower part of the triple tree, I'm going to use a brass brush and clean up the threads on the stem. I just want the bearing tension nut and the top stem nut to thread on nicely, and if I find any damage, I have a small thread file that I can use to fix it up. So, not a bad start. The softer wire wheel is actually doing an okay job. I'm going to have a little bit of trouble with some spots like that, but I'll figure that out. If I had a regular sandblaster here, I would probably just sandblast this whole thing, but no sandblaster yet, so let's see. I can probably get in there with the cone maybe. Okay, I was cleaning it up a little bit more with the Scotch-Brite, mainly just kind of on the inside here. There was a little bit of rust. So it seems pretty good now. I'm not sure if you can really kind of see in there. I'm going to tape up all the areas that I don't want to get any primer on, and then we're going to give this a couple coats of primer. I was going to just leave the paint that was there. There was some damage that I wanted to clean up. The chips on the paint were so bad that I thought, well, might as well just sand it off and just put a fresh coat of primer on there at least. Alright guys, so here we have the upper part of the triple, and we're just going to toss this in the vapor blaster and clean up all of that chip paint so that we can get it ready for priming as well. Alright, so there we have it. That basically took about half an hour, plus let the compressor tank run down to about 30 psi, polish it up a little bit, even in these hard to get areas in here, and clean it up nicely. So there we go. So I don't have a press at home, so I've brought the lower part of the clamp and the bearing to work, and I'm using the hydraulic press here to press it into place. Now with that lower bearing in place, the last thing to do is to press these outer races into the neck, and then I can temporarily put all this stuff back together so we can have a look at it. That's all for this one. Thanks for joining me in the garage today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by hitting that like button or leaving a comment down below. And if you'd like to see more, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.